Welcome everyone to another King Reflections episode. I'm Daniel Oliver, your host, a graphic designer and a personal trainer by trade, and starting to do my life coach course currently at the moment. And welcome. I haven't been doing one of these for a while, but I have a certain list of topics that I want to talk over that I started a couple of months ago. And this one's called Playing Dirty, and it's in the context of sports, and just a little bit of emotional intelligence and emotional awareness, and shows me your character in a sense, is what I'm trying to say. And again, nothing about, I'm not saying that you're a bad person, or that you're a good person. I'm just saying that you're a person that makes bad decisions, and you can see where your mindset is, or where your behavior is, the direction that you're heading with your current display of behavior. If you're one of these people, if you're not, then that's fine. So Playing Dirty, the concept I got is from basketball. I've played basketball most of my life. So when I played from 7 years old all the way up to, let's say, 25, when I became a personal trainer, I then stopped for about 5 years because obviously I'd have clients in the evening, and that's when the basketball games would play. But then I recently stopped doing PT certain evenings, and I was able to play again with an old friend from high school. So started getting back into it. But one of the main reasons why I actually liked stopping playing basketball was because of the egotism that came with it. And this comes with every sport. So it's in every, even with work, like it's in every field. Like you can't escape it, so to speak. Unfortunately, it's just part of the human nature to have ego and to play against the rules or break the rules in order to win or have a higher advantage of winning, if that makes sense. So I'll give you first context of what actually happened most recently. So I was playing basketball. Anyway, my friend on my team was being defended quite highly from another player, which this player was obviously, saw that my friend was a key player in shooting 3-pointers. So he stuck to him like glue, which is good defense. But my friend said to me, look, he's actually grabbing my arm and holding me back. He's grabbing my shirt and holding me back. So can you just screen him just so I can get around him so I can shoot the threes? I'm going, yeah, no worries. If you don't know what screening is, just look it up. It's a sort of a offensive, defensive play. Anyway, so my friend has the ball and this guy is on him. So I block the path of this player so that my teammate can go around me and can shoot a 3-pointer. But this opposing player saw that I was there, and he actually put his hand on my chest and pushed me away, which is not allowed in basketball. It's not like footy or gridiron. It was a very dangerous move to do, especially because it was really high up on my chest, like his fingers were close to my throat. And I reacted on me going like, how, like, you can't push me. Like, you can't push someone that's in a screen position. So I'm like, oh, hell no. So then the next time when I screened him again, because he thought I stumbled back a few steps, but I hadn't. I only stepped about one step back. I came back and stood in that position, and I locked myself so hard that when he hit into me, he fell onto the ground. And then he started doing this, come on, ref, like that's a foul. And the ref did call the foul on me because it was a foul play from an offensive position. And he was just making a big scene of it. And I said to him out loud in front of everyone, I said, "Don't push me again." And he looks at me and he's just like, oh, this guy. I'm like going, "Don't push me again." And I left it at that. He actually continued on arguing or continued on making a scene of it. And the ref had to actually give him a warning saying, hey, if you keep going like this, I'm going to have to give you a tech foul, which means you get 5 minutes off the court. But just this attitude I see along a lot of the time is these, not saying him particularly is a bad person or, not saying that at all. Just saying that this ego drive sometimes that we want to win. And we will sometimes break the rules or bend the rules or do subtle things to put the odds in our favor of winning. And him holding onto my friend's shirt or, grabbing people's arms and pushing people in order for him to get an advantage or his team an advantage. It shows his mentality of, or even in his insecurities in a sense of him needing to break the rules to play the game in order to win, or to feel that he needs to break the rules in order to win. And he knows he's doing it, and a lot of people do. And then they do all these things, but then once one person does something wrong to them, they make a big scene out of it. Like, oh, this person fouled me. And they'll go to the ref and start, telling the ref, why didn't you see that foul? He was grabbing my arm. And it's just like, you've been doing this the whole time though. And now you want to arc up about it. My thing is, if you're going to play dirty like that, and if you don't arc up about it when somebody else is playing dirty, then that's, to me, like you're that sportsmanship. You're playing dirty, they're playing dirty. You're not making a big scene or fuss about it. That's just how you're playing the game. But if you're making a scene of it because somebody else is playing dirty, even though you're playing dirty, that just shows to me that you're insecure to some degree in your life about something. And you must have this concept, or you want to win, you want to have control of something in your life, because maybe in other parts of your life you don't feel like you're in control. So you bring your insecurities to a game, and because there is a finite mindset, like in life, there should be an infinite mindset. And life when life gives you, a no, or knocks you down in a sense, you can get back up and keep going. There's an infinite end goal, so to speak. There's, you can be, rejected from a job interview, but there's other job interviews that will accept you. So it's infinite. It keeps going. Whereas in a basketball game or any game, there is an end goal. You have a period of time to get the most certain amount of points, and then it declares the winner, so to speak. So people bring this, their insecurities to a game that has a finite ending. It's not going to last forever, and they want to have control in this space. So they will bend the rules and break the rules a little bit, so they have the advantage of winning, and then they feel good about themselves that they've won, and they have a good reason to feel good about themselves, because maybe in the rest of their life it's not going so well, so they have to feel good in some way, and this is the way they're doing it. And I find this really frustrating and sad, because people come to play games like this as an escape from the real world, as is these people, and we want to escape with fair play. We feel like maybe our jobs or our partners or the rest of our part of our lives probably doesn't feel like fair play. But when we come to a sporting game that we play, we're gonna, well, me specifically, I will play fair play. I'm not going to injure someone or put myself in a position where it's going to break the rules just so I get an advantage or my team gets an advantage. I find that wrong, morally wrong, and emotionally wrong as well. And it's hard sometimes, because when people like myself, they want to go to games like this and just release a little bit of tension from, the life of, work or, just life in general, from the tough things that sometimes life throws at you, like illnesses and stuff. You want to come to a game where it's fair play. There is it's a finite mindset, so there is an end goal, but you know that you've played well for that past 60 minutes or 40 minutes of whatever game you're playing. And you want the other team, the other players, to play fairly as well. So because it brings everyone on an equal plane, in the sense of, there's a time limit. You all are playing your parts on the court. You have restricted rules, like you can't double dribble, you can't travel. You've got to bounce the ball as you go. You can only lay up with 2 steps with holding the ball, etc. Everyone's on an equal playing level. But when people aren't obeying that, you then get frustrated, because you're there going, I'm playing fairly, I'm obeying the rules, as this game has implied, to avoid injuries or to avoid fights. But when people do play dirty, and when they play to gain an advantage, and when they start losing, they start throwing a tantrum, and they start and they start going off at people and start getting angry and start going off at the refs, and you're there going, you've been playing dirty this whole time. You're no longer making the game enjoyable for anyone. You know, I like to lose when it's an honorable loss in the sense of I'm playing hard and fairly and the other team is playing hard and fairly. I don't care if I've won or lost. All I care about is that I've played and I've let off some steam. But some people take the game way too seriously because that's the only thing they can control in their life. And if you're one of these people, I highly encourage you to think about when you're coming onto these games, like, do you want to make other people feel bad about the only thing that they find enjoyable about their life, or the only thing that they want to escape from life with is, a game of basketball or a game of footy or whatever? And if you're playing dirty and not by the rules, then you're affecting other people's mental states, and they could be on the tip of the edge just to want to punch someone, and that person might be you, and you might leave the court with a black eye or something worse. I remember one time I was playing basketball and this the team that we were versing were losing, and I was going out for a layup, and this guy just completely whacked both my arms, like with his whole arm. It wasn't even his hand, it was his whole arm, and he did sort of like a karate chop sort of concept, and he got the foul. But I'm there going, my arms, like if you were really strong, or one of those, ninjas that can chop wood in half or whatever, if you actually physically harmed my hands as a graphic designer, I'll then find it hard to type. I find it hard to hold the mouse, and I don't want to get carpal tunnel or arthritis in my wrists at this early age, where it will be a struggle for me to stay at the computer for long periods of times to actually do graphic design work. You got to think about what harm you actually might be causing someone. And I've seen people that will charge into someone's legs and they'll get corked, and it's like, you don't know where that muscle or where that nerve might be sitting. It might be sitting out of place from a general biological view. It might be just sitting differently because they're genetically different, and you might injure that whole nerve, which then could make them lose the whole the whole feeling in their leg and make them paraplegic. Like, you just don't know. You have no idea. You can knock their knee cap out of place and they'll have to get surgery and they have to be off for the next 2 years from their work. Like, you just don't know how much loss you can cause someone with your carelessness, and all because you're ego-driven to win against something because you feel like you're not winning in life, in the background of your life. And that's the thing, I don't even know their story of why these people, I'm just assuming, but it really comes down to insecurities, or else why would someone break the rules and cause a form of injury or a form of negligence to someone's safety, or even just negligence to someone's mental health? These people, like I said, they come and escape, and if they're not being played fairly, they're going to get frustrated, and it's going to add frustration to the already frustration that's in their other life outside of the game, outside of the court, off the court. Like, you just don't know. And I've come across players where they have no idea who other players are or their opposing players, and they'll make snide remarks or make fun of the other team, or make fun of people and point out their hair or their culture, or if they've got to wear goggles because they need glasses. I wore goggles when I was younger playing basketball because I couldn't wear contacts. I couldn't get contacts when I was that age, and just being made fun of that. And it's just like, do you have to stoop yourself so low to get into someone's head just to win? And that's like through every sport. And like, if it's with a friend, like if your opponent is a friend and you're doing like a bit of banter, and that's okay. But if it's someone that you don't really know, you just don't know where they're at in life to make smart remarks or harsh remarks, really. You just don't know where they're at mentally. You don't know where they're at with their family. Like, you just don't know. And what I found interesting was that this player that I was talking about before, he tried to apologize to me at the end of the game. So at the end of the game, you go shake everyone's hand out of respect, say good game, and shaking his hand. I said good game, and then looked him in the eye and said, good game. But then he just started trying to apologize to me and started saying, oh man, sorry, but it wasn't a genuine apology. It wasn't real. And he was just saying, oh, I didn't mean as a don't take it personally. Like, oh, I do that with everyone. And I'm there going, I just nodded my head. I'm like, yeah, okay. And just kept going on my way because I didn't want to hear it. I wasn't in the mood. And it wasn't coming from a genuine place anyway. But I'm there going, you really need to apologize to your team because they played a game where one of their team members was playing dirty so that the team would have an advantage. And that's not playing by fairness. That's in a sense cheating. You've cheated the team of a victory, which they didn't win that game, but you cheated their team of an honorable, in a sense, defeat because you weren't playing by the rules. You weren't playing fairly. You were being selfish. You were just being selfish to wanting to win because you wanted to feel in control for that period of time. And I get that. I get that, sometimes life is out of control. And I get that you want to control some parts of your life, but it's not the way to do it on the court. It's not the way to do it to bring into a game and put your frustrations and anger onto others that don't deserve that much frustration or anger, that don't deserve that treatment, especially when they're probably dealing with stuff that you have no idea is going on. So really, he needs to apologize to his team for playing unfairly. Like there's no integrity within yourself as a person when you are cheating. Even though, basketball or, a sports game is nothing compared to real life, but what you do on the court can affect someone, whether it be a mental battle or even a physical battle. Like if you injure them physically, like you don't know what their occupation is or what they need to do for their family, to provide for their family, if they need their physical body as a need. And, even mentally, they might be going through so much drama or so much emotional trauma or emotional devastation that you adding onto it isn't helping. So I encourage you to really reflect on yourself as a person when you do play, and when you're going to play dirty, like even when you're talking to people and the way you talk to people and the way you present yourself, like if you're going to that you're playing dirty. I really want you to reflect on yourself, on your emotional awareness. Like sometimes people aren't actually emotionally aware that they're doing it. They haven't got that intelligence to realize that they're doing it. They just think, oh, this is just fun. I'm just having fun. It's just like, yes, you might be calling it fun, and it is fun if the other person, you know them, or you've built a rapport where they know your humor or they know your banter. But if they don't, that can be when it turns sour. And it's not the best feeling when you've made someone or you've influenced someone to feel really bad or worse about their life if they already do. So really take the chance to question, am I building someone up or am I tearing them down? That's always a question I always ask myself. I always ask, am I building someone up with what I'm saying or am I tearing them down? Is my actions benefiting someone or is it tearing them down? And most of the time I find I'm like going, I'm actually tearing this person down. I might be thinking that I'm doing good, but I'm actually tearing them down because I'm not meeting them to their level. And I really have to look in the mirror and go, metaphorically, look in the mirror and go, okay, what am I doing that is tearing? Am I saying something in a way that is tearing them down? Am I saying it with condemnation? Am I saying it with compassion to building them up? Like, how am I saying it? Or I'll even ask them and be like, so what do you think of this certain topic or this certain thing? And really get to understand them and get to understand what builds them up and what tears them down. And you can be on differing opinions without having to tear the other person down. You can have completely opposite opinions about something, certain topics, etc., without actually telling the other person they're an idiot or they're a moron or they're stupid. You can just accept their opinion. You can you can disagree with their opinion and not pull them down or make them feel like they're less of a person. because their worth doesn't lie in their opinions. You know, their worth lies in that they are human and that they deserve to be loved and cared for. You don't have to accept their opinion, you don't have to accept their views, but you can accept that they are human and they do have a family, they do have friends, they do have, have to take care of their mental health, they do have to take care of their physical health, and also their emotional health and their spiritual health, just like you do, just like we do. Anyway, I hope you got something from this, and I hope that you are doing your best to build people up as best you can. And I hope you have a wonderful day. King up.